Hey everyone, Michael Simon here and welcome back to Android Confidential. I'm here in New York City and I got my hands on the Pixel 3 XL from Google. You've probably seen it already, you've probably read about the notch, but just how big is it really? Let's find out. So first off, let's talk about how this thing looks. I have here the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 3 XL. The Pixel 3 has a 6.3 inch screen, the Pixel 2 XL has a 6 inch screen, but they are remarkably similar in size. We might be talking about a half of a millimeter difference. I don't even know if it's that big, but they are very, very similar. So around the back, we have a very similar look with that two-tone kind of matte and glass look, except the matte this here is glass, and man, it feels awesome to hold. I mean, it's smooth, it's still, you know, it's still a little tacky, so you're not gonna throw it at you. You're not gonna wanna put this thing in a case. It is awesome to hold, awesome to look at. Google did a bang-up job on the back of the phone. But the front of the phone, that's a whole nother story. You've read, you've seen, you've heard the rumors, and they're all true. This thing has a big honking notch at the top, like double status bar big. And I have a whole bunch of phones here that have a notch because, you know, everyone has to copy Apple. And I'm gonna show you how big this thing really is. So I've got the LG V40 here to start, which has a similar screen size. They're 6.4 versus 6.3. They're pretty close. And they're both made by LG, the screen, so the resolution's the same. But if we compare the notch and the bezels here, it's a bit of a different story. LG has about half the size of the notch. Maybe it looks like it's about, maybe 2 to 3 millimeters versus 5 to 6 on the Pixel. The bezels around are a little bit thicker on the V40, so that's where we get into a little bit of compromise. So Google has really trimmed down the edges, but it gives you a whole bunch more notch in the middle. So 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Next up, we have another LG phone. This is the G7, and it's a little bit smaller than the Pixel. Again, the notch is way, way, way smaller. It doesn't nearly go as low, and if you have a status bar up there to hide it, we're not talking about 5, 6 millimeters deep. It's just the normal size of the status bar. Also, like the V40, we got a little bit thicker bezels going all around, which isn't a huge issue, but real big notch on the Pixel. Now we have the OnePlus 6. Now OnePlus is coming out with their 6T on October 30th, and it's rumored to have a real skinny, very small notch, but this one was a little bit bigger. Still though, if you compare it to the Pixel 3, we're talking about maybe half the size. We have, it's a slight kind of optical illusion effect with the bezels, where it kind of it gets a little bit wider at the top, but still, your eyes are going right to that notch on the Pixel, whereas you don't really notice it as much on the OnePlus 6. And finally, I got the notch that started it all, the Essential phone. When Essential came out, it was pretty deep, and it looks like it's about the same as the Pixel depth-wise. However, Essential only covers the camera. It's not wide like the Pixels where we got 2 cameras and a speaker in there. So you get a lot more room on the edges, so you can see more videos and more photos. It's not quite as distracting as it is on the Pixel 3 XL, which is both wide and deep. So there you have it. The Pixel 3 wins the notch game, and not in a good way. It's deep, it's wide, it's like the Grand Canyon of notches. Now listen, I've had this phone for about a half hour, but every time I turn on that screen, my eyes go right to that notch, and that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be immersive. You're supposed to forget that you're even holding a phone and that it's just, you're just picked up by the whole screen, and all I see is notch. We'll see what happens. Maybe over a couple days, a week, that I totally get used to it. I don't see it anymore like on the iPhone and other phones that I've used. But man, this one is big.